Over half of all Americans now choose cremation over burial. In Japan, that number is over 99%. Most people have handed an urn to a grieving family member, or received one. But almost nobody actually knows what happened inside that chamber, what the process involves, what gets returned in that container, and whether what's inside is really what most people think it is. Welcome to the unexpected history. Today you get to know what happens inside the cremation chamber and what actually remains. The cremation chamber is called a retort, a heavy industrial furnace lined with heat-resistant bricks, fed by natural gas or propane burners. The temperature inside reaches between 1,400 and 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, roughly 760 to 980 Celsius. For comparison, lava flowing from a volcano averages around 2,000 degrees. A cremation retort is only slightly cooler than molten rock. The body is placed inside the retort inside a combustible container, a simple wooden casket, or a cardboard enclosure. Before the process begins, a stainless steel identification tag is placed with the body. It survives the entire process, ensuring the remains returned to a family are never confused with anyone else's. Every cremation facility processes one person at a time, always. What actually comes out of that chamber is almost nothing like what most people believe they're receiving. Inside the retort, the process is not a single fire burning uniformly. It's systematic. The container ignites first, then soft tissue, organs, muscle, fat, vaporizes. The body's water content, which makes up roughly 60% of human weight, evaporates almost immediately under the extreme heat. What takes the longest, and what drives the full 2 to 3 hour process, is bone. Bone is the most heat-resistant biological material in the human body. Even at 1,800 degrees, bone doesn't simply burn. It calcines, it dries out, loses all organic material, and becomes a brittle, chalk-like calcium phosphate mineral. The same material living bone is made from, stripped of everything biological. The gases and smoke from the primary chamber are routed to a secondary afterburner chamber, where they combust completely before release. What exits the chimney is largely water vapor and carbon dioxide. Here's the part almost nobody knows. The gray-white powder returned to families is not ash, not in any traditional sense. There is almost no ash. What's inside the urn is processed bone fragments, the calcined skeletal remains, run through a machine called a cremulator, which reduces them to a uniform fine powder. It's chemically identical to the mineral matrix of living bone, primarily calcium phosphate and calcium carbonate. An adult's processed remains typically weigh between 3 and 9 pounds, depending on bone density and body size. Denser bones, larger frame, more remains. Children's remains weigh significantly less. Any metal implants, hip replacements, surgical pins, pacemakers survive the process entirely. They are separated after processing and disposed of according to regulations. Gold fillings, however, do not survive. They melt at approximately 1,948 Fahrenheit, well within cremation temperatures. What gets returned in that urn traveled through temperatures close to volcanic lava, was reduced to its most fundamental mineral form, and emerged as the same calcium that built every bone in that person's body, just stripped of everything else. It isn't ash. It's the skeleton's last version of itself. There's something quietly profound in that. The softest parts disappear completely. The structure, the framework that held everything together, is the part that remains. If you want more videos that explain the science behind the things we rarely talk about but always wonder, subscribe. The most important questions are usually the ones people are afraid to ask.